Hey everyone, it's Misti-Dawn from the Manamal Streaming Radio. I'm here talking to Billy Morris from Billy Morris and Sunset Strip. Thanks so much for joining me today, Billy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. We really enjoy your music from all the years, so we've got you covered here. Now, you're one of Cleveland, Ohio's most revered musicians, and I've heard that so many
You're
times.
correct. The rock and roll capital of the world. I'm the guy.
I can't even imagine how amazing that must be to get back home when you can do shows from home with all that love and support that you have going on from your state. So, kudos.
Well, it is a good thing. I mean, I live in Cleveland. I'm about 15 minutes away from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I don't really go there much. I'm actually playing there in October. I've always said I'm not going to go there until I get inducted, but that ain't happening anytime soon. So I guess I'll go there and play a gig. But it is cool to play in my hometown.
Now, you've like I said earlier, you've done it for so many years. You were the lead guitarist in the band Kid Wicked, also the incredibly successful band Warrant, for which I am extremely thankful for. You're currently lead singer in the band Tough, and you've been on tour guitarist for Quiet Riot and Paul Gilbert for Mr. Big, and now you have this solo project. I bet you this...
But one correction. Oh, okay. I'm the lead guitarist of the band Tough.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And do you know who the lead singer is of Tough?
Actually, no, I don't.
Well, his name's Stevie Rochelle.
You know what?
And he's been the lead singer of the band, from the release of their first record, in 1989 or 90. And then also the founder of Tough is Todd Chason. And Todd and I have a food truck business together in Cleveland together. So, but moving on, you run the interview. I won't interview myself. You talk.
I have questions about the food truck thing here in a little while. So, well, actually, I did want to say that I did know that Stevie Rochelle. For some reason, whenever somebody says tough is enough is what goes through my head. But my partner will be upset if she heard me say that.
I hear you.
Now, who are some of the bands you listened to growing up?
Well, my first major influence on rock guitar was Eddie Van Halen. My uncle played me Van Halen 1, and I made my mom go out and buy it for me, and I wore that record out. So Eddie Van Halen, some of the guitarists from the 80s that were my favorites was Warren DeMartini from Rat. I was a huge Paul Gilbert fan before I got the call to go play with him, so it was kind of a dream come true to go tour and play with Paul. And I have to say my father was the one that taught me how to play guitar when I was like a little kid, like 6 years old. So he's the one that always showed me some good guitar licks here and there and moved my fingers around on the neck and made me practice my guitar. So he's the reason why I am who I am today.
That's awesome. Growing up, I mean, obviously you had a musical family. When did you know that this was what you were going to do for the rest of your life?
Well, I'll tell you what. I snuck into this club by my house, and I saw this rock and roll band come out, and they were playing Over the Mountain by Ozzy Osbourne, and the guitar player looked like Randy Rhoads, and the place was packed, and they sounded great, and the guitar sounded great, and I was already weighing the guitar. And when I saw that, I started sneaking back into that club, and then MTV came on. So it was like kind of like a culmination of me sneaking into these clubs as an underage, like 16-year-old kid, and then discovering all the good bands on MTV, like Judas Priest and Def Leppard and Van Halen and all those videos that came out. I was just sucked in from that point. And the day I got my driver's license, so I could drive to band practice by myself. That was cool.
There you go. Well, let's jump right into the album Holding All the Aces on High Vol Music's label. This, I'm telling you, this 14-track album is pure badassery at its finest.
Oh, thank you so much.
No other way to describe it. How stoked are you for this?
Oh, I am very excited. This is a 3-year process. I'm so busy at home with my trucks and my band and my kids and my family that it took me a long time to get this record to be complete. So I'm very excited that it's going to come out, and at the same time, I'm very confident in the songs. I'm have high expectations for this, and I'm very excited for it to see the light of day so people can hear it, just like you did. And I want to use that quote, pure badassery. So we're going to use that from now on. Yes. I think the CD is going to be pure badassery.
That'll work for me because I'd be really honored for that. So
you got it.
How did it come about your co-writing with Mark? Is it Zutter or Zuter? I apologize.
It's Mike Zuter.
Mike Zuter. How did that all come about?
That's a great question. Back in the back of the day, he had a band called Out of the Blue, and they tried to get a gig at a club that I was involved with. And I said, hey, let's book this band opening for my band. And they opened up for my band, and we hit it off. We've been best friends since the mid 80s, and giving a little bit away of my age there. But we just became really good friends. And then at one point I left that band and he left his band, and we started the band Kid Wicked together. And we just formed this writing team where he's just such an amazing writer. And he would take a lot of the things that I do and just turn up to the next level. So he's always, I've always considered him my writing partner. So, it's hard for me to complete a song without not wanting to have his input in it, because he's just that good. And he's the reason why I got in Paul Gilbert. He was the one that recommended me for Paul Gilbert, and he moved to Vegas a long time ago, but we still correspond through emails, and we talk on the phone a lot. But the song Party Like the Weekend Never Ends, I was actually playing in Vegas with Tuff, and I went to his house and spent the night, and I said, let's take 20 minutes and write a song. I'm telling you, that song took 20 minutes to write, and that's the first single off the Holding All the Aces release.
Oh, wow. Now, how you said a couple questions back that it took you a long time to write this album.
Well, it didn't take me a long time to write it because I had the majority of the songs written and in my computer. It took me a long time to A, find the time to record all the parts, and B, put a stop to trying to, mess with everything, because, I own my own recording studio, and there was no limit. I could still be there to this day trying to perfect it or re-sing something or add this to that, or better add another song. That's why there's 14 songs on it. I think it was initially going to be 10 or 11, and I just never could stop. And finally, I'm like, all right, the drop dead date. I remember it being the first week of March, because I was going to be going on vacation. I was like, I'm going to be done with this record and on vacation and feel good that it's done. So it was sometime in March when it was done. But it's just to the point where we had to find a good time to release it. We wanted to promote it all summer long and create this festival for high vol music, coinciding with, my record release party. It's also a kind of a showcase for all the high vol music acts.
Right. Now, what was your inspiration for this album?
Oh, the inspiration was I had all these over 70 songs in my computer, and I reconnected with Bill Chavis, the owner of the label, and I was like, you got a record label, and I've got all these songs. Why don't we do something together? And that's really what it was. And I've got other releases, Billy Morris Band releases before this. I've had releases from the band Kid Wicked before that. I'm always inspired to write music and record it and release it. Just this one here. It was the first time it's on a real record label with real promotion behind it and a real team behind it, and I'm excited to be involved with high vol music.
It's due to hit the streets on August 24th, is that right?
That's right. It's released August 24th, and our release party is August 25th at Fiore's Entertainment Complex in Worcester, Ohio. Are you coming?
Actually, I live in Pennsylvania, so that's very feasible.
That is very feasible. You should come out and do a review of the show.
I should do that. I will have to check into that for sure.
All right.
Now, this is your first solo album, correct? Am I correct in saying that?
First solo album, really, that's not really true. It's first solo album in a long time and on a real label. I've done other releases that I have put out locally, but this is the first real deal. I guess you're right about that.
Now, can you walk us through the songwriting process for this album? I mean, did you email back and forth parts to, Mark or Mike and do it that way? Or did you all get together and do it in a session?
Well, we didn't really get together much other than that song, Party Like the Weekend Never Ends. There'd be some times where I would write a riff or a song that I got stuck at. Like, hey, Mike, I got this. Check this demo out. but I'm stuck at this part. And he's like, oh, well, obviously you need to do this and this and this. So he's the glue that puts it all together. And so over the years, there's some songs on that were written and recorded like 7-8 years ago. And then like the first 4 songs were brand new to this project. And song number 3, I think 4, is a song called Dressed Up Like a Millionaire. And that was written by a friend of mine in Boston named Mike Woods. He's a record producer, and he's a producer of me, and he had this song, and I was like, oh my God, this song is so killer, I gotta have it. He's like, yep, it's yours, take it. So I recorded it. He gave me the drum tracks already recorded, and I just did the guitars and vocals, and it's actually my favorite song on the CD.
That's awesome. Now, while I think the whole album is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I think all the right words, words. Oh, I've been listening to that on repeat. Just love it.
Oh, excellent. Sometimes there's meaning behind some of the lyrics. Sometimes it's like, I got to finish this CD, so let's write some lyrics. But that song is one of the older ones, and there's some of those lyrics are a little part of my life that was not as happy as I am today. I'm very happy right now, but some of the darker lyrics are the lyrics that were in different times and eras of my life that I wasn't quite as happy. But I'll tell you what, that's got some emotion in it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I fell in love with it right away. Just, you know how you always just have one of those songs, and like I said, I'll listen to it, the whole album I'll repeat, but when that song kind of comes around, I just kind of block everything out.
Oh, that's huge. You make me feel so good. Thank you so much.
Now, if someone were to ask you to describe your sound on this record, what would you say?
I would have to say pretty diverse. So we go for some pop rock, like Party Like the Weekend Never Ends. I compare that to Rock and Roll Night and Party Every Day, and Nothing But a Good Time. I call it my anthem. The song Dressed Up Like a Millionaire has got a little Marilyn Manson feel to it. The deeper songs like All the Right Words. There's a ballad on there that I like called Cold and Bittersweet, which was written in some heartache turmoil of my life, and it's got some really good guitar parts. It's the one ballad on the album. So I would have to say pretty diverse, and I think there's a little bit of something for everybody in there.
I agree, absolutely. Now, the album cover is awesome. Is that your baby, or somebody else come up with that?
Yeah, no, I gave full creative control to High Vol Music, and Bill Chavis has a graphics guy, and they came up with that, and I'd like to meet that girl someday. I don't even know who that girl is, but no, the record label did everything. They did all the artwork and all the label, and I give high praise to Bill Chavis and the label.
Can you shed some light on the touring that you're going to have for this album?
Well, it's going to be regional. Like I said, I've got this business, and in the summertime and fall, I'm pretty busy with that. It's going to be regional. We do play every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, for instance, we played Friday night in Cleveland. Saturday night we played at Chicago, Michigan. Not Chicago, Michigan Motor Speedway for the NASCAR race. Then we drove back and played in Richfield, Ohio. And we do a lot of regional touring on the weekends. So we'll be gone for 3 or 4 days, and we make a living that way. We get paid pretty good. But I would assume that with the release of this, we're going to be able to maybe jump on some maybe 1 or 2 week runs with some of the bigger bands. Hopefully we'll be able to, jump on with somebody and be able to promote regionally, like the Midwest, and see what the initial reaction is. If it starts being successful and taking off, and we can jump on a tour with, say, Van Halen or Motley Crue or Judas Priest, I'm all about that, or Steel Panther, or any of those bands. I'd love to go out like that. So initially it'll be regionally, but let's see where this goes, with the release and how successful it is, and see if we can make a run at it.
Well, I'm hoping it goes far, because it's just awesome. Now,
well, you're not that far. We can make it to Pennsylvania.
See, there you go. We could go to Jurgles and Warrendale.
Hook it up.
I will. I'll see what I can do.
No pun intended. There's a song on the record called Hook It Up.
Yes. Are there any artists out there from today's bands that you would collaborate with? I
probably would only want to collaborate with some of my classic people. Like I would love to sit down and write a song with Donnie V from Enough's Enough. I think he's one of the good songwriters. If I could get in a room with some of the guys from Cheap Trick, I think that would be pretty cool. And then there's some very, very obscure people that you would never even hear of in a million years. But I've been into this guy. I don't even know who he is, but I found his CD or his stuff on the internet. There's a guy named Josh Fix. Look up a guy named Josh Fix. I would love to meet that guy and sit in a room and write a song with him. He is like this multi-instrumentalist. He does all his own stuff on his records. And I think his songs are the best. And I don't even know where he is. I don't know where he's from. I just found this guy named Josh Fix on the internet, and that's who I'd like to collaborate with. Obviously, maybe I'd like to sit down in a room with Butch Walker as well. Try to pull some heavy metal back out of him. He's gone kind of folksy and artsy, but I think I could get some metal out of Butch Walker too.
I'm glad you didn't say Justin Bieber or something like that.
Well, come on. If I could write a song with Justin Bieber, then I'm paying my house off and I'm living easy,
True that. Now, what was the greatest advice you've ever been given about the music business?
That's a great question. I come from a musical family. My father's a musician. He still plays out in the Cleveland area, plays guitar. And years ago, probably when I was like 16 years old, he said to me, he's like, you know what? You got to be the lead singer. Don't be at the mercy of the lead singer, because you're at his mercy. If he quits, your band's done. So ever since then, I usually tried to be the lead vocalist of my bands. And he was right. I was in bands here and there with the lead singer, and it was going great, and we're kicking butt and everything. I love it. And then all of a sudden he quits. Done. All that stuff, all that time and work wasted. Because once the singer quits, basically the band goes in a different direction. So the advice was be the lead singer of your band and control your own destiny.
That's pretty dang awesome, I must say.
That's smart.
Yes. Now, I did want to talk to you a minute regarding your food trucks. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It's called Smokin' Rock and Roll. I came upon a video on YouTube as you were walking around introducing other food trucks. What areas do you service?
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
What areas are we in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're, like I said, we're based in Cleveland, Ohio, and there's days where we go downtown, and like, for instance, today, one of the trucks was at that same event. I didn't go with it, but it's an event called Walnut Wednesday. It's a street called Walnut Street in downtown Cleveland, and about 20 trucks, go in a big square, and all of downtown Cleveland knows that it's food truck day, and there's long lines for the food trucks, and you make a good living, a good money day. Other times we go to businesses for private lunches. Corporations will have different shifts, and they treat their employees to a lunch. And then other times we do private parties, and that's where the name Smokin' Rock and Roll came. I would come home late at night from gigs and start, musicians come home late and they're all wound up. You can't go to bed. So I started cooking some food outside. It was nice out. And then I started getting into smoking food. And I realized I like the smoking the food part. And I realized that I rock too. So I came up with the name Smokin' Rock and Roll. It's kind of a party service. First I come in and I smoke for you and I feed you with my smoked food. And then I go over to the stage and I rock for you. So it's Smokin' Rock and Rolls. Smoke and rock and roll. And we do that occasionally for big parties in Cleveland where they'll pay for the food truck, they'll pay for our ice cream trailer, they'll pay for the band, they'll pay for the sound, the light system, and that's basically on the weekends in the summertime who I want to serve. I want to do that private party on the lake and make mucho dinero. You know what I'm saying? A lot of money. So that's where it's going. That's the direction we want to be in.
That's great. I've always wanted one myself. I always wanted to do some kind of sweet treat cupcake,
Tonight at 5 o'clock, I'm doing an ice cream thing. I'm taking my two little boys with me to Westlake High School, and we're going to scoop ice cream, and it's fun. But the food truck business is not as glorious and glamorous as you think. Last night I was out there smoking food till 3 a.m. I had to rewire the outlet on the truck and the power wire for the truck because it burned up. My partner, Todd, demanded his own parking spot, so I had to stripe some lines in the parking lot so he had his own parking spot. And I was out till 3 o'clock in the morning doing that and got up around 7 o'clock, and I'm doing it all again today. So it's a lot of work.
Right. Now, are you still racing as well?
I don't race as much. My boys are now getting into it. My older boy, he's 6 years old, and he's like racing as much as he can. So I'm kind of chasing him around the track, picking him up when he falls. But yeah, we still race a little bit, not as much as I used to. But I can still go out and hang with those guys on the dirt bikes.
The bikes are always cool. I had a lot of brothers, so I know about those things.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to touch base on Warrant for a minute. I don't want to dwell on it, but as I said earlier, you guys helped me through so many difficult times with your music.
Sure, yeah.
Do you all still keep in touch?
I only keep in touch with the drummer, Mike Fasano. The other guys, I was only close with really Jerry Dixon and Eric Turner, because those were the two guys that were in the band when I was in the band. And I was friends with Joey Allen from before I joined the band. But what had happened was Janie Lane ended up quitting the band, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to stay in the band Warrant, or do I want to stay with Janie Lane? And the decision for me was easy. Janie moved back to Ohio. He was the reason why I was in the band in the first place. He was like my best friend at the time, and we were writing songs together. So I made the decision to stay with Janie Lane. And then I don't think they were mad at that part, but there were lawsuits going to happen over the use of the name Warrant. And the manager told me, he's like, look, stay away, don't talk to those guys because there's going to be lawsuits and you just can't really communicate with them. So I didn't talk to them. And then years go by, I run into them, and they didn't seem like they were as excited to see me as I was excited to see them. And I think the bad feelings never really subsided. I have no bad feelings. As a matter of fact, I think they're doing great. I think their new record's awesome. I think that they found the right guy to replace Janie Lane. If anybody could do that, Robert Mason's the guy that could do it. And I compliment him a lot online. I have nothing but I've respected that vocalist when he was a Lynch Mob, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So I love those guys. They gave me my opportunity to get on a tour bus and open for Poison and open for Whitesnake and tour with Rat and Dokken and LA Guns and Firehouse and Quiet Riot. And it made my rock and roll dreams come true. And I really wish that, I could still remain friends with them. And who knows, time heals all wounds, but I'm not looking back. I'm looking forward, baby. I'm looking forward to this release. And as a matter of fact, I do have some songs up my sleeve. I've got a folder of Janie Lane songs that we wrote together that I have that no one's ever heard. And I also have re-recorded some of the Warrant classics country style. So I have a version of Cherry Pie, which we re-recorded as Apple Pie country style. And I have the coolest version of Uncle Tom's Cabin recorded country style as well. So look for that someday. I'll let you. I'll send it to you so you can have it in advance. You can be breaking news someday.
Please, yes, that would be just absolutely amazing. Now, do you have any crazy fan stories?
You know what? No, I mean nothing out of the ordinary. No, I really don't have anything crazy. I mean, I can't remember anything that was over the top crazy. I mean, just being out on the road with 4 or 5 rock bands on a tour with 4 or 5 tour buses, things seem to get a little out of hand. But I think that everything that we did, there was nothing that I can go like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I got one good one though for you. You want a crazy story? I got it for you.
Absolutely.
So I was in my band Kid Wicked. This was about 1991, I want to say. And we were opening for David Lee Roth at the Cleveland Agora. And the night before the show, I'm like saying to myself, I'm going to go out and find David Lee Roth and shake his hand and tell him I'm opening for him and meet my rock and roll idol, So I go driving around all the stripper clubs, and I walk in the stripper club, and holy cow, there's David Lee Roth sitting in front of the stage, side of the stage. He had a big bodyguard with him. But I walked up to him. I'm like, hey, David, man, Billy Morris here. I'm opening up for you tomorrow. Can't wait to play with you. And he put his hand out and shook my hand. And all of a sudden, this big flash of fire happened. And this girl was doing a striptease with these fire things. And the fire spilled on her. So all of a sudden, she's on fire. So I'm literally holding David Lee Roth's hand. as we're shaking hands, and we both look to the stage, and this girl's on fire, and like the people from the club, they're taking like throw rugs and they're beating her to try to get her to be put out, and they finally put her out, and they took her away. At first, she had to go to the hospital. So I guess, the moral, or not the moral, but the finishing part of the story is like, I don't think David Lee Roth would ever remember who I was, but he probably would remember the stripper that caught on fire while he was sitting next to the stage. And I was there with him, holding his hand. So there's a pretty crazy story.
Well, I hope she's all right now.
I'm sure she's fine.
Now, where can people buy your new album, Holding All the Aces?
They can buy it. Initially, can buy it at the High Vol Summer Bash on August 25th. That's going to be the first place and time that anybody can buy that. And like I said, that's at Fiore's Entertainment Complex in Worcester, Ohio. It's all over the internet, all over the High Vol Music website. I'm sure you'll put a link to it on yours. But it's going to be the most important thing. And that's what I really like about today's era of technology. Is it's going to be on all the digital platforms, so you can go listen to something and buy songs that you like, and hopefully, people will click on the buy the whole album button. But that's up to the record label for distribution. I mean, what record stores? Well, what store can you go buy records at, anyways?
I don't even know
Walmart?
if there's any. Walmart, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it's going to be the hard copies will be for sale at our shows, but the cool part about today's day and age of music is I can do an interview with you, and this interview will be played to all of your fans and all of your followers and listeners. And there's a whole new group of people that are going to be introduced to my music. And if somebody follows you from, let's say, Japan or Australia, I don't have to tour in Australia or Japan to introduce myself to them. So that's what I do enjoy about today's technology. Although put the song up on YouTube and everyone can have it for free. And so there's the bad part about it as well. But look for every digital format to carry this record, and please spread the word and somebody click on it. I want to buy some groceries or something, a new dirt bike or something.
There you go. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our listeners that we haven't covered in today's interview?
Well, I just want to introduce myself and say give the songs a listen. I think they're pretty good. I think that the CD sounds good. There's, like I said, there's some for everybody on there, and I'm a very accessible person. So send me a private message on Facebook or Twitter. Follow me, and if anyone wants to talk to me, I'm accessible. I'll talk to anybody. I'd reach out and talk to anybody and give you the shirt off my back. That's the kind of guy I am.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Well, I want to thank you so much for granting us the interview today, Billy. It has been truly an honor for me. For everyone out there listening, please check out Billy Morris and the Sunset Strips album, Holding All the Aces, and it's coming out August 24th. You don't want to miss it.
All right.